What would you do if your billion-dollar restaurant empire was under attack by bad actors? Well, if your first thought is, I don't know, let's just wing it, then today allow me to introduce to you someone who might share the sentiment, Mr. Jia Guolong, the CEO of Xibei, cause boy is he a gangster. Look at that, that's a picture of him back in the days. The stand user could be anyone. Now, before we begin the video, allow me to provide you some context on the series of business mishaps of Xibei, because the story actually dates back to September last year. But in case you don't remember, then allow me to give you a refresh. On September 10th, Xibei suffered what is known to be the most catastrophic incident in the billion-dollar corporation's history since its establishment 35 years ago. Evidently, it is now an official Wikipedia page, so shit certainly went down. It all started, of course, when a famous entrepreneur, Luo Yonghao, had the experience of dining in a Xibei branch in Beijing. The food turned out to be terrible and tasted like pre-prepared meals, even though Xibei claimed all their food was cooked properly in store, prompting the man himself to publicly denounce the company on Weibo, as he was immensely disappointed by the whole ordeal. Which, to be fair, he was fresh off a plane. That's the worst type of hunger, right? Plane hunger hits different, so I get where the crash out is coming from. But as we know, the CEO of Xibei isn't exactly easy pickings either. So instead of, I don't know, offering him a coupon or something, or a refund, like a similar case that happened with Pizza Hut, where apparently Mr. Luo Yonghao was served wilted, rotten vegetable leaves. Which we can all agree is worse, right? Because I feel like you'd rather be served something at least edible, right? So Pizza Hut obviously first humbly accepted his feedback, because, you know, there's not much room for a counter-argument. You gotta put the little sauce on it. No. And secondly, publicly stated they would improve, and thirdly, gave him 2 coupons. And the whole thing blows over. The mad god calms down from his fiery rage, doesn't cause too much of a stir. Pizza Hut's still on a good run in China. But instead of doing all that, Mr. Jia Guolong crashes out on video threatening to sue Luo Yonghao for defamation, and then doubles down and makes the most brave yet foolish decision any food company could ever make. And that is to temporarily change his company policy and orders all 370 stores across the country to open their kitchens to the public all at once, without training the staff beforehand either. But as if that wasn't enough, he invited essentially all customers and media teams alike to literally come and walk in and see for themselves what really goes on behind the scenes. He was like, bring your media teams, bring your cameras, we're going to be 100% transparent, you won't find a trace of evidence. So the people did exactly that, found all the evidence of the restaurant serving pre-prepared meals. I don't know if you remember, there was a 1-year-old lamb leg chilling in the freezer. There was 2-year-old pre-packaged broccoli from the kids menu, amongst some other stuff as well that were also pre-prepared. The people even made memes celebrating the lamb leg's birthday. 1-year-old child eating 2-year-old broccoli, so as the netizens say. And because he literally invited people to come in with their cameras, the news went so viral it was picked up by state media, so now all of China knows they serve pre-prepared food. Bro tries to make a 4D chess move and ends up checkmating himself. In fact, as the esteemed Power 777 gracefully puts it, just when netizens thought there was nothing more to see since Jia Guolong was already naked, Mr. Jia bravely spreads his buttocks apart. So, he had to change a few fresh food policies, even issued an apology statement on the 14th of September, right? Have a look at this one. Like, it's pretty long, it's a solid statement. And that should have been the end, right? Multi-million-dollar company learns its lesson, everybody enjoys a better Xibei, name a better scenario. But unfortunately, if there is one thing about Xibei that makes them genuinely my favorite billion-dollar corporation, well, actually, soon-to-be million-dollar corporation, is that they absolutely refuse to end on an L. So things took a turn for the absolute worst as Xibei drafts up a plan to fight back. Hey, you know what? That's nothing compared to the sheer War Thunder players are going through, because every battle's the toughest battle when you take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations ranging from biplanes and armored cars from the 1920s all the way to modern-day killing machines. You can play it on PC, console, mobile devices. There's 3 distinct modes with different realism settings. Arcade, for example, suits fast-paced matches with enhanced vehicle performances and simpler physics. If you prefer realism, then simulation mode removes the guardrails entirely, whilst realistic mode sits right in the middle, balancing authentic gameplay with casual fun. Immerse yourself in intense combat with detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound that puts you in command of modern war machines. As a fan of racing sims, I like options, but I also like simplicity, and that's why I like the option of playing on my phone. The mobile version still has the intuitive controls and the impressive graphics, as well as the familiar MMO Warfare combined arms dynamic. So download War Thunder for free today using the links in the pinned comments or video description. We're new and return players who haven't played for at least 6 months on PC and console can claim a massive bonus pack for a limited time, which includes exclusive vehicle decor, Eagles of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, 7 days of premium vehicles, plus multiple premium vehicles to help you jump straight into battle. Join over 95 million players worldwide and experience one of the most detailed and expansive military combat games ever made. As soon as 7-year-old Mao Mao entered the store, he rushed straight to the store manager Zhao Fengfeng, hugged her leg, and started crying. Mao Mao's sudden action left Fengfeng completely bewildered. What was going on? Turns out, Mao Mao's mother recently saw the online comments, casually mentioning it to the family. "How about we don't take kids to Xibei on Sunday?" A casual remark, but Mao Mao overheard it. Mao Mao cried and fussed, insisting on going to Xibei even if Mom used phrases like going to grandma's house or buying toys to divert attention. He resists the temptation, as his insistence on eating the children's meal was a promise he made with Xibei. The remarkable story I have just blessed your ears with is not from Reddit, no matter how much you think it reads like one. It is part of an unofficial anthology of modern literary works made by the billion-dollar corporation Xibei, dubbed by netizens as Xibei literature. Because on the 23rd of September, seeing that Xibei's brand image has been tarnished to oblivion, the PR agency that Mr. Jia Guolong paid 60 million RMB for throughout the past 10 years, that's how much it is in US dollars, 8 million, okay? Carefully drafted up a plan in an attempt to bring the brand out of hot waters with a nationwide campaign. So what is this genius plan this so-called most expensive PR agency in the nation came up with? You guessed it, stories. So the one we just read was titled 7-year-old Mao Mao says, "I thought I would never be able to eat Xibei again," encapsulating an absolutely true story according to Xibei, where a 7-year-old child was accounted by eyewitness running into a store to hug the leg of a manager because he apparently missed the restaurant so much after his mom had enacted a temporary trade embargo forbidding the child to enter into Xibei territory. This was done, of course, after she saw comments online talking about how Xibei's children menu was not safe to eat. But you know what I like about the story is that they do give us closure in the end, so we know it's a happy ending for Xibei, where later Mao Mao's mother realized that her child has been eating at Xibei since he was 2 years old. Well, there's never been any food safety issues in the past 5 years, so she shouldn't let public opinion negate that trust. This companionship from age 2 to 7, very specific age range that conveniently matches the Xibei children's menu recommendations, was more than just eating. It's a habit in the child's growth and also the parents' trust in Xibei. You know, which I think is good and all, but you might have to forgive me for my skepticism, because what 7-year-old is out here pledging his allegiance to a mid-tier casual dining chain whilst forsaking his own family? But evidently I'm not the only one who harbors doubts in the authenticity of the story, as netizens seem to also be skeptical of how a 7-year-old was able to hug the leg of the manager standing upright, suggesting malnutrition might be the case. Of course, some also didn't fail to take a jab at the whole pre-prepared foods shenanigans they were caught up with in the first place. "Here, auntie will freeze it for you so Mao Mao can eat it when he grows up." Netizens even launched a Find Mao Mao campaign and claimed that Mao Mao is actually the child stuck in the freezer this whole time. So we've got to rescue him. So obviously, nobody bought the campaign, prompting a dirty delete on the literary work on the 25th of September from Xibei's end. Hey, you think that was it? 60 million down the drain, that's the best they can come up with? That's right, the PR company doubles down and releases another PR story setting the company back even further, where a clip gets released this time by Xibei's social media team showcasing an actual person, video evidence, recounting a story where her 1-year-old child learned to finally eat healthy in a Xibei restaurant. Okay, now the story was that the 1-year-old child refuses to eat proper meals, and out of an attempt of desperation, the mom brings the child to Xibei hoping that he could find salvation there, because they have a child's menu. And upon entering the restaurant, the child was immediately captured by the interior design and music played in the store. Hey, you know, which if true, I can only say Lil Bro certainly got an acquired taste for Ming Dynasty style furniture. But yeah, so the family sits down and orders from the child's menu, which I've actually gone ahead and stole this clip from a food critic in China where he orders the children's menu set. So as you can see for yourself what it looks like, which I think looks pretty good. Like, I'm no 1-year-old, but I will eat that. To the mom's surprise, the child finished his meal for the first time in his life. The mom was on the brink of tears. From that day onwards, whenever they finished playing, the mom will bring her child to Xibei every day. The CEO of Xibei, Jia Guolong, sitting right beneath in the audience, breaks into tears listening to her recount. He lifts up a cup of pre-prepared wine and raises the mom a toast. I'm here for your child. She was telling the truth. I happened to be eating at Xibei that day and saw her. I thought it was amazing, so it left a very deep impression on me. I remember the child ate roasted lamb chops and beef that day and also drank 2 bottles of beer. Proper unit, that one. The little guy was really happy with his meal. I didn't edit the story, by the way. That was literally the flow of events posted by their marketing account. The CEO cries and then raises a cup to toast the mom. Now, I sincerely do not think that one is a stretch. It could have actually happened, right? Like, if your kid is sad all the time, then he could have a bad appetite. So you take him to a more vibrant place and his personality opens up, he gets happy, and then he eats. I think what the people just did not fuck with, besides the absolute theatrics and tear-jerking, was the constant emphasis that she ate at Xibei every day.
每一天 every day.
Which I think might be out of reach for the majority of the population, prompting netizens to widely speculate that the mother is Jia Guolong's daughter. I don't know, maybe the grandchild was excited to be in his grandpa's restaurant. The rumors were of course denied, but by that point it's just negative PR once again. As these stories kept going viral, netizens began digging deeper and soon discovered gold, as these weren't even the most ridiculous ones they've written. In fact, let's quote this passage from the Xibei literature. This one, for example, documents an example where a customer apparently walked into the store, looked around and said, I'm not going to eat here today, but I'm going to deposit 1,000 yuan to support Xibei. See? That's business. While the low IQ business owners are focusing on one business model, Mr. Jia Guolong had gone ahead and combined banking and catering in one service. Okay, we also have a documented phone conversation between 2 young men where one of them was on the phone and then a voice came from the other end of the phone. Do you still dare to eat at Xibei? Probably because he saw the whole 2-year-old broccoli scandal trying to warn his friend in case of food poisoning, but the young man replies with, I will live and die with Xibei. The 2 of them then ordered 600 yuan worth of food, lamb chops, grilled fish, roast duck, Mongolia beef steak. We ordered them all. Ooh, you know what? I'm getting this feeling right now that this chain restaurant is some serious business. Like, I'm a big fan of McDonald's. You know, I'll put it out there right now. I don't think there's a single item on the McDonald's menu that I wouldn't eat, right? In fact, I'd even go a step further and say I'd eat a well-seasoned shoe if it was from McDonald's. So as you can see, the McDonald's glaze is pretty strong within me. But never have I once thought that I will live and die with Ronald McDonald. I mean, that's just batshit insane. So clearly, if true, Xibei must be serving some crazy ass stir fry. My child grew up eating Xibei and now I bring my grandchildren to eat a Xibei. Okay, that's a story about how a grandpa brings 3 generations together to dine at Xibei. Okay, now this one is much more believable than the other 2, because considerably less dramatic first of all, but I'd also say the timeline matches up, at least. Because Xibei's been around for like 35 years, so it's entirely possible. But this next one. If this one actually happened, I will genuinely delete my channel, because this is undoubtedly the most crazy anecdote I've ever seen in my life used by a PR agency. On the 27th of September, Sina Finance publishes a news article titled, Xibei responds to a bowl of soup for a customer's Beijing apartment, a true story, garnishing nationwide attention. The video posted on Xibei's marketing account tells the story of a 15-year-old waitress at Xibei restaurant who sincerely provided high-quality service to a Mr. Jing for 2 years. Always in a private room, I don't know why they would put that one in there. 2 years later, Mr. Jing wanted to reward her with an apartment, but she magnanimously declined. It's a big word for me. Alright, we're gonna tackle this one step at a time because that story read like a minefield. But I'll tell you what the people felt first, okay? Because the video sparked criticisms from netizens who found the plot bizarre and abstract. To which I say, bizarre might be an understatement. Because if I ran a company That's the type of story that I would pay $60 million so that it would not be associated with me. There is so much room for misinterpretation. Because according to the waitress Liu Moxia, okay, so she's an actual person, she was actually 17 years old in 2004 and had been working in Xibei stores since she was 15 in 2002, which is the same time this story happened, leading to netizens to jokingly refer to her as child labor. Well, not a joke, literally child labor. But then, to the people's surprise, Xibei's customer service responded to the nationwide skepticism, stating that it was in fact a true story. People had to do a double take on that, like, huh? Because Miss Liu would have been 15 years old when she was working at Xibei, right? That would have been illegal. So upon realizing that internally, which took a few business days, the customer service representative then backtracks and goes, well, actually, we don't know about that one. So I don't know what that play's meant to achieve. Truly, ladies and gentlemen, a PR firm that works in mysterious ways, because you just never know what their next move is gonna be. Evidently, after each one of these stories go viral on the Chinese internet, the PR company Huayuhua, which is the one contracted to Xibei, also managed to find themselves in the controversy too, as their brand image suffers under skepticism on whether or not they're actually worth the frickin' money. Hey, maybe that's the tactic this whole time, right? You redirect the PR controversy onto yourself to save your client. Now that's a 4D chess move. People wanted to find out more about the marketing firm, because evidently they're pretty good at getting Xibei to where they are today, not so much in helping defend the brand, however. And boy, did they find gold once again. I'm just going to quickly show you their executive summary for the two founders, right? So Huayuhua, the company, was founded by Huashan and Huanan, the two brothers. Now, as we can see for the elder brother, damn, pretty comprehensive personal intro of who the guy is. I know everything about him now. And then when we get to the executive summary of his little brother, hey, want to tell us more? You know what? We can tell whose business idea this was, right? Mom, I already told you this is my company. Come on, Huashan, let your brother run the company too. Right, fine, I guess I'll put him in there. Alongside that, people also dug up another interesting part of history from Xibei's end, and it turns out this wasn't even close to the first time they fucked up on PR, where back in September 2020 there was a 715 incident, before all the pre-prepared meal shenanigans had happened, where in an attempt to boost PR by the CEO Jia Guolong, when prompted the question on what he thinks about the 996 work culture, which is somewhat of a prevalent issue nowadays, not as prevalent as before, which consisted of working 9 AM to 9 PM 6 days a week, so 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. Yeah, pretty packed schedule, I'd say. Not many people's gonna be pleased about that. So his attempt to boost company image was him saying, no, we don't do the 996 over here, we do the 715 at Xibei. Oh, that's good, J-Gal, 715, that's a lower number than 996. Yeah, but what he meant was instead of 9 to 9 6 days a week, it's 7 days a week, 15 hours a day. So the man himself looked at Chinese society dead in the eye and said, we don't do the 996 over here, because we can do better than that. Which of course was met with national backlash from multiple state media agencies and netizens alike. In fact, if we just read the statement at the time, still there, the situation was not made any better when he claimed that this has been the arrangement for the past 32 years, so they could make good food and serve customers well. Which is a fair point, right? So you can see how the intention is there to showcase how the company is busting balls to deliver good food. But the execution, just like this time, is respectfully doo-doo water. So I'd imagine anything PR related coming from Jia Guolong must have sounded like a threat at this point to its shareholders. The CEO of Xibei, Jia Guolong, threatens to improve the company image with a brand new PR decision. Like, no sir, please, for the sake of my retirement funds. But then, if we look back at the type of shit Luo Yonghao has done, it's not exactly pretty either. In fact, I think the most famous arc he's had was this one time where he had beef with the fridge company Siemens. Hope I read that right, or else it might be a sticky situation. No, so he gets into a dispute with Siemens over product quality, and like what any stable-minded businessman would do, he rallies up consumers in a protest and carries out a public execution of 3 Siemens refrigerators with problems that did not close properly, right in front of their headquarters in Beijing, causing such a huge commotion that they ended up actually apologizing. In fact, right after the stunt on November 20th, on December 4th, Roland Gerke, the president of Siemens China, caves under the protest movement started by Luo Yonghao and publicly apologized for the refrigerator's doors not closing properly. So in this case, truly an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. So back to the present. After 60 million RMB down the drain, multiple sleepless nights in the office, In January, Xibei announces the closure of 102 stores nationwide all at once, with the vice president of Xibei's PR department also quitting his job at the same time. As of today, the CEO of Xibei Jiaguolong had stepped down from his position of CEO, with the ex-CEO of Xibei returning to try and save the company from the generational setback under Jiaguolong's reign of the empire. But what's relevant for me is that I've never craved a restaurant so bad up until this point, because this is my theory. If there is a 0.0001% of these PR stories being true, like imagine having a meal where after you finish, you're like, my life is beneath this, then I want to order exactly what this man has ordered so I can see what the hype is about. You know what I mean? Oh, one more thing. Before you go, make sure to check out today's sponsor, War Thunder, and blow up some tanks. Play the game for free now on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile using my links in the pinned comments. Those of you who haven't played War Thunder yet, or returning after a break of at least 6 months, will receive a massive bonus pack on PC and consoles, including premium vehicles, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium account.